50% of the production of 1 year by evaporation. So the angels are drinking a lot. We need to control the temperature because of that. That's the reason of the sand floor. We use the sand floor not only for style, it's here to control humidity and temperature. When we have really hot days, we used to wet the floor so we can easily control the temperature.
Oh, okay. So sand is your natural AC?
It is. And also the granite walls, they are really massive and they helps us to keep the temperature here inside of the cellar 5 degrees less than on the outside.
Okay. Then why do you want to move all of this bucket from Douro Valley to here? Why don't you just keep there?
I'm going to talk about it later, but basically because of the climate. On the
I
Douro
see.
Valley, we have a really aggressive climate because on the winter you have temperatures around 5 degrees, and on the summer, -5, sorry, and on the summer 45, 50 degrees, a huge difference of temperature.
Okay.
So the climate here in Porto is more appropriated for the aging of wines because we have a cooler temperature and we also are close to the Atlantic Ocean. So we have all of the influence from the ocean, winds, rainfall,
Okay.
all of that.
Okay.
And by law, the Porto wine must be aged here.
Oh, by law.
Yeah, we are the only, that's the most important part. We are
Okay.
the only region of the world authorized to age the wine outside the border.
Oh, interesting. So is this all of your stock? Is everything here?
It's just the beginning.
Oh, okay.
This is the biggest cellar of the city.
Okay.
At this point, I know it's hard to trust, but it's just the beginning. This is only the touristic beauty, where we have the tasting room, the shop, and all of that. As soon as we get to the real cellar, you will trust me.
So which is the biggest Porto wine sellers in the city? Which
So
one?
there are the two bigger groups from Porto Wine are the Symptoms, us, and our rivals, the Flaggings group. They are the owners of Taylor's.
Oh, Taylor.
It's
Taylor's,
kind
yeah.
of famous.
So yes, so every time we have a prize at the ending of the year for the best wine of the year, we're always winning or the Symptoms or the Flaggings group.
Oh, I see. Okay. No worry. We will help you win.
Yeah, on the business they are rivals, but as people they used to get married between the same families for lots of generations. Yeah, because basically all of them are from English families. Why is that so? Because on the beginning of the business on the 18th century, the English merchants made a lot of money during the Napoleonic Wars selling the Porto wine. So they bought basically all of the cellars we have here. That's why you look at the names of the cellars. Almost all of them has English names.
Oh, I see.
I think probably all the owners have relative, like people know each other.
Yeah, they do know each other. They have like a social club here in Porto, and they all get together over there to have dinners or to marry those kids.
I see.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Arranged
because
marriage.
The place here
Yeah.
is not very convenient to come over from downtown, so it's like kind of the transportation arrangement or something else.
Yeah, Porto is a big city since the Middle Age. So when they started to build more cellars for the Porto wine business, on the other side of the river it was all already occupied. There was no space to build big cellars. And on this side of the river, it was like an empty area, just forest and all of that. So they built the cellars here because it was available, also because it was cheaper here than on the Porto, and because here on this side of the river we have an average temperature 1 degree less than on the other side, and less sun exposure. So it's cooler here than on the outside, on the other side.
What is this? Scale.
So on the left side, we can see the level of wine we have in liters.
Oh.
Here we have almost 4,500 liters, and on the right side in pipes. Pipes is the commercial measure of Porto wine. One pipe is 550 liters, which is the size of one barrel like those, a standard barrel. So on this big barrel, we have almost 8 barrels like those.
So what is the age for these containers? It's like
Some of them 80 to 90 years old. You're going to understand why we don't use new barrels for the aging of Porto wine.
Oh. Okay.
What is this?
卫生局来检查了。
it's too one easy.
Where? We're going to see the same map after. Okay?
Okay.
Careful here because we have a regular floor.
Ooh.
So this is a steam boiler. Okay, we use this on the past because there were no electric pumps on that time, and we needed to move the wine from barrel to barrel, and that's the reason why we had this steam boiler in the past. Nowadays we just use electric pumps. It's much more easier than using that.
Okay.
Faster.
Does this work now?
Now it's using the electric pump.
Yeah, it's just a part of using nowadays. Just to show how we used to
Just
do
a
in the past.
demo.
So what's the place making the
Fixing.
fixing?
Oh, the
We
barrels.
don't make new barrels here. So this is the cooperage from Cockburn. Okay, we are the only cellar with a cooperage still working. It's a very important job for us because, as I told you, our barrels are really, really old. Some of them with 90 years old. And standard barrels like those has a lifetime of 200 years if you keep them well. We don't use for 200 years because after 90 years aging Porto wine, we sell those barrels to brands of whiskey, rum, and brandy. Yeah, it's a very valuable business because a new barrel we can buy it for 1,500 euros, and after aging Porto Wine on it for 90 years, we can sell it for the same 1,500, sometimes 4,000 euros. One generation of the Cimitans will make money selling the wines, and the next one selling the barrels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much for one barrel, can I ask?
It will be from 1,500 to 4,000 euros.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. We use French oak to our barrels and always seasoned wood. What is a seasoned wood? And used barrel. We never use a new barrel for the aging of Porto wine because a young wood will transfer too much taste to the wine. And we want that oaky taste when you have a reserve table wine. But for Porto wine, we just want the exchange of oxygen between the wine inside of the barrel and the outside world. That's how we age Porto wine, by oxidation. So always used barrels for that. When we have a new barrel, we age table wine, own it for 5 years on the valley, and after 5 years aging table wine, we move it to our cellar to start aging Porto wine.
I see. Interesting.
And here we just fix the barrels we already have. It's a really hard job done by hand. They have some machines to help them work nowadays, but they work basically with the same tools and techniques they used to work 100 years ago. A hammer. Is it still a hammer? So not much has changed.
Okay.
As I told you, it's a very important job to keep those barrels working for a long time, and it's getting really hard to find young people to work as a cooper nowadays because it's a hard job done by hand, and we take 5 years to teach a cooper how to work. 5 years is like going to the university.
Yeah.
That's why it's not easy to find young people to work as a cooper. It's becoming more
And
like
work in somewhere like this instead of a fancy office.
yeah. But it's becoming a lot more like a traditional job. It's a handcrafted job, so the parents are teaching their sons how to work.
I
But
see.
I think they are well paid because they drive better cars than us, so
Oh.
I think it's well paid.
Okay.
And it's rare to find someone to work, so yeah.
But how do you make sure the quality, like, you know, those apprentices who learn from the mentors how to make all of these barrels?
Because they are here for 5 years, so they cannot start to receive money for that without learning the profession. So
Okay. Wow, looks like trainees.
So during the training time,
5 years.
no
5 years.
money.
no money. Just some help for
韩国
food
女
and
团这样
transport, but
出道之前先
no
劝5年。
salaries on this time. On the past, we used to sell Porto wine on the barrels, okay, but we are not able to do this anymore. We are obligated to bottle before selling nowadays. It's also an environmental question because we need too many trees to build new casks all the time. And the bottle we can recycle, so
I
it's also
see.
an environmental question.
Okay.
On that time, we used to paint the names of the cities and the logo on the top of the barrel to sell it. That's why you can see lots of different cities over there, like Quebec, Bristol, Leith, Amsterdam. But
Okay.
nowadays we are obligated to borrow. And
Okay.
there's a funny one. Let me check.
Funny
Over
one.
there. Can you see on the middle, like 6 grapes? Let me just point here. Here.
What
On
is
the
that?
past- on the past, people didn't know how to read. So how would they know if it was a good wine or not? By the number of grapes painted on the barrels. Like Uber, when you like the driver, you give 5 stars. If you like the wine, you were able to give at maximum 6 grapes. 6 grapes would be the best quality of wine available. 1 grape or 2, no, maybe we can buy the next one.
Okay. 1 grape is the
Worst
house wine
quality.
from the supermarket, 2.99.
1 grape, let's sell it. And wait for the 6 grapes to drink. Only producers here on the Douro Valley, but they also produce aguardente, which is a distilled drink from white wine. They distill the white wine like brandy and cognac, but on a Portuguese style. Aguardente is the name of the drink.
Okay.
And table wine and Porto wine as well.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, great. Nice. 啊，这里还蛮美的。立马说。Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, cool. 还是有一个酸酸的味道。
Do you think it's a little bit cooler, right?
Yeah. Do you AC here?
Yeah, the AC here, our natural AC is working.
Oh, this is natural AC.
Yeah,
There's
the
no real
central-
AC.
No,
Oh.
none of this work.
Interesting. But why here is much cooler than the other side?
Because of the sand floor and the granite walls.
Ooh, magic.
And over there we have lots of machines that are working. Here we just have the barrels. Here we can see a proof of the Cuba steam job. It says it was repaired in 1979. It was already old on that time and they repaired the cask, then you can use it even nowadays. I will also give you some tips about what you're reading on the plaques. We're going to see plaques everywhere, so on the top we have the name of the wine. This one is a single harvest from 1937 and still aging. The code is how the winemakers can track the year of the harvest, the grapes they used on the blend of this wine, and also the vineyard where they took the grapes. The whole capacity of the vat, 8,000 liters and 8,300 liters, and the date the wine was transferred to this cask. This date is very important because once a year we used to take the wine off the vat to clean it up with water and grape spirit. After that we can move the wine back again to the same vat, or we can transfer to bigger vats, to smaller barrels. It will depend on the will of the winemaker because we're always playing with the oxidation. Imagine the wine here on the middle will have no contact with wood. Then it will have no contact with the oxygen. But if you move this wine to lots of smaller barrels, lots of contact with wood and higher oxidation because of that. We're always playing with the oxidation.
Oh, but is this empty? Here, you look
Now
at
the
the.
scale is not working, but this one is full. When it's empty, they just cross the plaque And when we are not sure, we can do a simple test. Full. When it's empty, it just sounds hollow.
Oh, learn something new. So that is why you can still drink the wine from like 1937 harvest. Wow.
For Porto wine, the
Like
older it
another.
is, the better it's going to be. It gets more complex over the years. But there is a thing about the aging process. Rubies and Tony ports, for example, they are going to age on the wood. Once you put it inside the bottle, it's already filtered, it's stabilized. It won't get better over the years on the bottle. They are wines made to buy it and drink it. But because of its aging process, they are used to the oxygen because they age by oxidation. So once you open the bottle, you will have 2 to 3 months to drink it. If you keep it on the fridge, 2 to 3 months to drink the whole bottle. Okay.
Oh, okay.
On the table wine, for example, when you open the bottle, at maximum 2 days because it's not used to the oxygen.
I see.
Yeah, that's because of the aging process, by oxidation, also because of the falsification with grape spirit.
I see.
So it's leaking out.
Sorry?
Leaking.
Yeah, this one is leaking, probably the cooker will fix these fats. That's why it has this white structure, because it's too heavy to pull it up. So if they need to fix, they need to go under the vats to fix it, they can just go under the vat and fix it. Or the white painting also, sorry? Yeah, it's leaking a lot and some insects as well. It's white because when it's leaking, we can easily identify it's leaking because the wine we're going to paint the white structure.
应该废了吧？都虫都出来了。
刷掉。
加料，
那个是我4000欧。
加料。
Now you trust me.
Ooh.
This is
Wow.
the biggest seller of the city.
But why here you don't use the same floor?
Because of the tourism,
Oh.
it's beautiful like this to take photos and all of that. But under the vats, we have like a stone floor. Can you see it over there?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we can also wax the floor. Here we got 10 million liters of Porto wine aging at this moment. 10 million liters will be 11 million bottles. It means
Oh.
that if we bottle the whole wine we have here, there will be a bottle for every Portuguese citizen. We are just a
Oh.
few, just 11 million, so yeah.
For entire Portugal.
For the entire Portugal, even
Oh.
with the islands Madeira and Açores,
Oh.
counting the whole population, 11 million.
In cookie.
Just explaining about the logo, the cock, because of the symbol of the family, the Cockburns. You can also say Cockburns, but it will be more like an American pronunciation. They were Scottish, so they used to talk like these Cockburns.
Oh.
with
Yeah,
their
Cockburn
mouths
sounds
closed.
like a whiskey brand.
And the crown, because of the British crown, and the cross is the symbol of the Symington family. On the beginning, there was no cross because the Symington just bought it on 2010. When they bought it on 2010, they just put the cross in the middle.
Look at this.
We have 6,500 barrels, like those on the right side, and 165 vats, like the big ones on the left.
Okay. So how do you choose whether the wine should be put on a smaller barrel like this or like a bigger barrel like this?
Depending on the style of the wine we want to produce. We have 2 kinds of wines aging at this moment here, the Ruby Port on the big vats and the Tony's on the smaller barrels. Why is that? Because for the Ruby Port, we want to see a dark red color on this wine. It will be a younger wine because of that, a maximum 6 years old, no longer than that, because all of the red wines, the older it is, the lighter it's going to get. So if you wait, for example, 40 years old on the aging of the wine, the 40 years old will have a color similar to a whiskey, not as a wine anymore, because of the oxidation and because of its age as well.
I see.
So the rubies, why we age the rubies on the big vats? Because the wine in the center will have contact with liters and liters of wine and less contact with wood. It's going to preserve characteristics of a young red wine, like dark red color, fruity aromas like cherries, strawberry, black plum. After 6 years aging here, we got 2 options. You can bottle this wine and sell it as a ruby, or you can transfer to the barrels to start aging as a Tony. So the Tonys will be always older than the rubies. The Tonys will have lots of contact with wood, lots of contact with oxygen. So they are going to lose its color because of that. As I said, also because of its aging process. And on the Tonys, we're going to lose the fruity character and we're going to receive more notes from wood, like vanilla, cinnamon, and caramel. We cannot add caramel to the barrels. We take the notes of caramel because of the evaporation. Because of the evaporation, we lose water and alcohol. But the natural sugar of the grape gets crusted on the walls of the barrels. That's how we take the notes of caramel. We got 2 kinds of Tonys. We have the aged Tonys. It can be 10, 20, 30, or 40 years old. And we also got the single harvest, like that one we saw from 1937. It's not the oldest one we have. The oldest one we have is from 1862. And they are selling a bottle for 12,500 euros this day. And a glass for 700, which in Portugal means 1 month of work.
Wow.
It's a really expensive one. Maybe when I get retired, they can give me one as a gift. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Ask.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to drink or sell it.
Okay.
Probably sell it. The oldest one I ever had was from 1953.
Oh.
They gave me when I just got into the company. They gave me just to know, just as a welcome.
So it's like 1 bottle?
Yeah, no, 1 bottle, 1 glass.
Oh, 1 glass.
One glass. That is a welcome gift.
Yeah.
How does it taste?
What is your
Wonderful. For the wines, we have like different kinds of notes for the wines. The primary notes that comes from the grapes variety we use. Different varieties of grapes will give different notes. We have the secondary notes, which would be the aroma from the wood, like cinnamon, vanilla, and the last kind is the aromas of evolution, aromas and notes from evolution. So this one from 1953 has no aromas from the fruit because it already lose the fruity character because it's aging for a long time.
Okay.
So it has only flavors from the evolution, like roasted coffee, chocolate, tobacco.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a very complex wine. So after the harvest, which is on the mid-September, we put the grapes on the lagares. Lagares are like large open tanks where we put the grapes to be thrown in. On the past, we used to throw them on the traditional way with our feet, but with the large production we have nowadays, it's impossible. So in only one of our vineyards, we make wines this way, on Quinta do Vesúvio. Of course, we're going to produce less wine. Because of that, it will be a little bit more expensive. But on the other 25 vineyards, we have machines to do this job for us. So imagine a machine with hundreds of feet, made of stainless steel, same size as an adult feet, silicone skin, and same pressure. The pressure is very important because we cannot crash the seeds. On the seeds, there are lots of tannins. We need the tannins for the aging of the wine, but too much tannins will give a bad taste. That's why we cannot crash the seeds. And after that, we're going to start the fermentation process. The fermentation process on the table wine, for example, will take from 7 to 8 days. Let's go to that.
7 to 8 days.
Yeah, almost the whole sugar will turn into alcohol, and you're going to have a dry wine with 13 to 14% of alcohol, for example, like Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, those kinds of wines. The secret of Porto wine is that we start the fermentation earlier on the second day, so the grape will still preserve lots of its natural sugar. That's why Porto wine is sweet. And how do we start the fermentation? By adding grape spirits. Grape spirits is a distilled drink that we made from the skins and the seeds of the grapes. We distill it twice, then you have a drink with 77% of alcohol, but with no aroma and no flavors. We use that to kill the yeast, and when you kill the yeast, you stop the fermentation. So because of these grape spirits, Porto wine will be more alcoholic than the regular wines.
Yeah.
It's
More
going to have
alcoholic.
19% for the whites,
19%.
for the whites, and 20% for the reds.
Oh.
20% for the rat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dangerous, sweet, chilled, and alcoholic. Yeah, a dangerous wine.
Dangerous wine.
Yeah, you take one glass, two glasses, three. On the fifth, you're already. Where am I? We used to have as a dessert wine because it's sweet. It's really difficult to pair with food. So we used to have as a dessert wine, pairing with dark chocolate, egg-based desserts, crème brûlée, British crumble, something like that. So at this moment, we're right here in Porto, and the
Yes.
Douro Valley, 100 kilometers from us, next to the border with Spain.
Uh-huh.
I already told you, we age our wines here and not over there because of the climate. Here we're close to the Atlantic Ocean, cooler temperatures, winds, rainfall. But on the valley, we're going to have another climate because of those three mountains right here. They are like natural walls that block the influence from the ocean. So inside of the valley, we're going to have another climate, Mediterranean continental climate. Really long and dry winters, almost with no rain, and really hot summers. Temperatures goes from -5 to 45, 50 degrees, a huge difference of temperature. That's why people that live there used to say that they got 9 months of winter and 3 months of hell. You can understand why. It's a very challenging area for the production of wine because of the climate and also because of its rocky soil. We have a rocky soil over there made of schist, which is really poor in organic matter. So the vine is going to struggle a lot for its life to find water over there on the subsoil. Some of the roots got 8 meters deep, and it's going to concentrate all of its energy, all of the resources on the grape. So we're going to have tiny grapes, a small production, but the grapes will be very concentrated in aromas, flavor, color, sugar, which is very important because of the fermentation process. Sugar becoming to alcohol, and really concentrated in powerful tannins. We need those tannins for the aging of those wines. Okay. And it's also a valley, so it's not a plain land. It's a mountain area. All of our vineyards are built on terraces, so it's almost impossible to mechanize the harvest. In most part of the vineyards, we must make the harvest by hand. There's no other way.
By hand.
By hand, yeah.
Wow.
50 person for 1 kilometer. Carrying the
Okay.
grapes all day long.
But where do you find so many people during the harvest season?
Immigrants in general.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see.
So for the whole valley, we got 26 vineyards, each brand with its own vineyards to produce the Cockburn wines. We use those 3 vineyards right here. Quinta do Vale Coelho, Quinta means vineyard, Quinta do Caixão do Arnozelo, and Quinta dos Canais, which is our best vineyard, okay? Notice that all of our vineyards on the north side of the river. And why is that so? Because on the north side of the river, we have more sun exposure. Sun exposure means more concentration of sugar on the grapes. Questions?
Wow.
It's science.
Yeah, I never know that there are so many considerations you need to put in producing a wine.
Yes, we have a French word for that. It's terroir. Terroir is the union of the grape variety, soil, and climate. It means that if I take a Portuguese variety and try to plant it, for example, in Spain or in France, you won't get the same results because you have a different soil, a different climate. That's why, for example, if you prove a Cabernet Sauvignon made in France and a Cabernet Sauvignon in California, it will be totally different because of different soils and different climate.
Yeah.
So it's any kind of Porto wine didn't like too sweet. It's any kind of wine, not very sweet.
There is a dry Porto wine, but it's more common to find sweet Porto wine.
Yeah, so Porto wine.
It's really
typical
rare to
very-
find, like, have you ever tasted cherry? Spanish fortified, cherry. Yeah, it's from Spain. This kind of fortified wine has dryness in this wine. But for Porto wine, you can find also dry Porto wines, but it's still different.
I see.
Let me just show you that big vat over there. The second one on the right, that one is the biggest one we have with a capacity of 150,000 liters.
Wow,
Okay.
huge,
Yeah.
giant.
So it takes how many years to build that barrel?
Impossible to say, yeah.
It's like this one
It takes a
broken.
long
Nobody
time.
can fix it. How you are going to remove this out?
Yeah. When we need to fix the barrels, we just take the barrels to the cooperage and fix it over there. With the vats, there's nothing to do. They must fix it right here because it's too heavy.
I see.
And remove plank to plank to fix it. They used to number all of the planks. It becomes like a puzzle because once you remove the plank, and you're going to put once again on the same place, you must put it exactly on the same place. For example, if you put a number 5, it was supposed to be an 8, you won't fit.
I see.
So they number all of the planks, then we can put it once again on the same place. This is the private cellar of the Symington family. All of those bottles here are not for sale.
Oh, not for sale.
No, just for the Symingtons to drink.
Oh,
This
okay.
is their private stock.
They must be quite lonely.
So this is the only room we have AC to control the temperature. We believe
see.
that's the best way to keep a bottle of wine for a long time. Low light, same temperature all the time. So if you're keeping wine on your kitchen, for example, forget about the kitchen. You got too much light, different temperatures, the oven, the fridge, maybe your garage will be better. And this is the room we used to talk about the vintage ports. The vintage port is the top quality of a port wine. To produce a vintage, you need a perfect harvest, perfect climate conditions on that year. Sun exposure on the right time, rainfall on the right time, and of course, it doesn't happen all the time. We have like 3 vintage years on a decade. It's really rare. When we believe we have the quality to produce a vintage, we cannot declare it as a vintage by ourselves. We must send the samples to the Porto Wine Institute, which is a public and independent institute that regulates the whole production of the whole brands. They are going to make chemical analysis, blind tastings, and they are going to rank the wine. We must score at least 9 points in 10. So if it's not a perfect wine, it's really close to the perfection. What's the difference between the vintages and all of the others? First of all, the quality of the harvest, spectacular year. Also, the aging process. All of the others are going to age on the wooden barrels. The vintage is going to age on the bottle because it's not filtered. So the wine will be still alive inside of the bottle, getting more complex, concentrated, and better over the years. A bottle of vintage you can keep for easily 100 years and you will get better. Okay? It ages like George Clooney, better with time.
I see.
We used to put the bottles on the horizontal position because it's not filtered like this. The sediments can lay all over the bottle and not only on the base if you leave it like this. And the most important thing is that the wine is in contact with the cork all the time because if the cork gets dry, it will be breakable. If it breaks, the air is going to get inside the bottle and kill your wine. You're going to have a really expensive vinegar, but not a vintage.
I see.
So on the plaques, we can see lots of different vintage years. Talking about vintages, 2011 was the best year ever, best harvest we ever had. 1983 was also a really great year. This one right here. 2007, 2017, all of those years were really great years, but 2011 was the best year.
I see.
Perfect climate conditions on that year.
Yeah.
The oldest bottle we have on the cellar is that one on the right side from 1861.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's for sale.
No,
No.
it's not.
It's not for sale. I was curious.
I
So
think-
it's like many people have to buy or just drink this old wine.
Yeah, the older it is, the better it's going to be. So from year to year, it starts to get more expensive because it's getting better inside of the bottle, and also because we have less bottles on the market. So it makes the prices higher from year to year. For example, the 2011 nowadays is 124 bottle. Last year it was 110, and 2 years before 95 euros. So with the time, the wine is getting better, more expensive because of that, and also we have less bottles on the stock. Some people used to look at the vintages as an investment. Some people just buy 2 boxes, 1 box to drink right now, and the other one to sell in 10 years.
So just curious for the price.
Yeah, that one, I would say it's priceless. It's part of the history and there's only 1 bottle remaining. But the oldest one we ever sold was from 1911. There was only 1 bottle remaining as well, and they sold for 2.7 million euros.
Oh, wow. So all this.
可能是 Jack Ma 买的。
Yeah, we don't even have the keys, just the simple.
Okay, makes sense.
It's a wine for special occasions because of its quality. It's not the kind of wine you used to drink every day. Also because of the lifetime, the vintages, once you open the bottle, you have the maximum 2 days to drink it.
Oh, I
So
see.
once you open the bottle, you must drink the whole bottle. And also because of the price as well.
I see.